she's so fine. Hell of a hell of a blows my mind. Hell of a hell of a.
What's good, guys? This story is coming out of Louisiana, and it came out 5 minutes ago. It says Louisiana man charged with kidnapping, torturing gay men via Grindr. A Louisiana man has been charged over claims he used Grindr to prey on unsuspecting gay men, one of whom he's accused of gruesomely torturing, almost to the point of death. The suspect's name is Chance Seneca, who was arrested last summer over the alleged incidents, which authorities say amount to 3 total: an attempted kidnapping and 2 actual kidnappings, one of which prosecutors claim led to an 18-year-old getting choked and having his wrists sawed down to the bone in what sounds like a horror movie. According to newly released documents that go into the gory details, obtained by the Daily Advertiser, prosecutors allege Seneca, who's 19 himself, confessed to using Grindr as a, quote, hunting ground, end quote, to lure young gay men to his father's home, where he allegedly said he had planned to kill them and use their body parts as, quote, trophies, end quote, and food, end quote. That's a picture of Chance Seneca. Credit the Lafayette, Paris Sheriff's Office. Prosecutors say on June the 19th, Seneca attempted to kidnap one man he'd met on Grindr but failed, only to successfully kidnap another late that night. It's unclear what Seneca might have done to that guy, but the next day, he allegedly picked up his third and final victim. That would be Holden White of Kaplan, Louisiana, whose name has been publicly released and whose family has been attempting to raise money, saying he's lost the use of his hands. As for what Seneca allegedly did, it's horrifying. Prosecutors say Seneca picked up Holden and took him to his dad's property, where they'd be alone. Once there, prosecutors say Seneca got Holden to handcuff himself and then pulled a gun on him. Wow. This is a picture of the GoFundMe, which I will go look at in just a minute. And I'll also link that in the description box. He then allegedly brought him to the bathroom, where prosecutors say he strangled Holden from behind until he passed out, only to place him in the bathtub and proceed to hack away at his wrist with a knife until he stopped when he saw bone and freaked out. Seneca came to his senses, calling the cops on himself, and allegedly tried getting admitted to a mental institution. Holden came to at one point, and Seneca allegedly said, quote, "Let go. I'm setting you free," end quote. Officers finally arrived and saw the bloody mess. Holden was taken to a hospital and Seneca was arrested. On a state level, he's facing an attempted murder charge and a hate crime charge. He's pled not guilty to the former. Federally, he's facing more: another hate crime charge, kidnapping charges, and other charges. If convicted, Seneca is facing a lot of time in prison, upwards of 25 years at least. Now, this is the GoFundMe page for Holden, and they've titled it Holden's Path to Recovery. They were trying to raise a goal of $100,000. They've exceeded that goal, and it is now at $112,827. And it says Faith Rousel is organizing this event. Let's read what it says. "My name is Faith Rousel, and I'm raising this money on behalf of my little brother. We are from Kaplan, Louisiana. These donations will be used to provide Holden with day-to-day needs. As of now, we are paying for home care assistance. Holden does not have use of his hands. Therefore, he needs support 24/7. Holden is the most loving and caring person on earth. Holden is a 2019 graduate from Kaplan High School. He is a student at LSUE, where he was majoring in education. Holden is optimistic, and he's a strong young man. Holden is a proud member and advocate of the LGBTQ community. Holden loves competing in speech competitions and expressing who he is. Unfortunately, Holden fell victim to what the family believes is a hate crime on June the 20th of 2020 at around 11 p.m. Holden was lured to the residence of another young man. This young man proceeded to physically torture and harm Holden for several hours until authorities arrived on the scene. The culprit physically hurt Holden in unspeakable ways. Holden has severe lacerations to both wrists, stab wounds, and lacerations to his neck, and was found unconscious. He will need intense physical therapy, emotional therapy, many prayers, and love. Any donations towards Holden's recovery would be much appreciated. He has a long road of healing ahead of him. No donation is too small, and if you are not financially able to donate, prayers are equally as appreciated. God was with Holden, and we know that God will continue to be with Holden through his recovery. Your big sister and forever friend. Sister loves you so much, Holden, and we will get through this. Now, Faith Russell made some updates to the case, and she posted those on the GoFundMe. The ones from this year, it says, given some recent activity on the GoFundMe, I have decided to attach a link to the most recent article that gives details in regards to where we are with the case. Once again, thank you all for the love and support given over these last 7 months. The money has helped support Holden during this time without a job and some medical expenses. Now, what she did was link the court documents, which were filed yesterday, on Friday. And I'm going to read the pertinent part of the complaint. It says, Seneca further explained to Detective Pattison that he met White on an online social media dating application called Grindr and made arrangements to hang out with White at Seneca's father's home. Seneca stated that he knew he and White would be alone at the house because Seneca's father was working offshore at the time. Seneca told Detective Pattison that the proposed meeting was a pretext and that he intended to kill and dismember White instead. Seneca said that he drove his car, the white 2006 Toyota Corolla, to White's apartment, picked White up, and transported White to Seneca's father's house. Seneca then explained that he convinced White to put on handcuffs and join him in the bathroom adjoining Seneca's bedroom by proposing a sexual encounter. Once inside the bedroom, Seneca strangled White from behind until White was unconscious. After the strangulation, Seneca pulled White's body into the bathtub, stripped his clothing, and slit his wrist with a knife. Seneca explained that he had hoped to remove and preserve White's hands, but that he could not finish his plan after seeing the bones of White's wrists exposed under the flesh. Seneca recalled crying during the attack and telling himself, quote, not to bitch out, end quote. Seneca apologized to White for what was happening and repeatedly told him to, quote, let go, I'm setting you free, end quote. Seneca eventually called 911 in a self-described effort to be put into a mental institution. Before LPD arrived, Seneca deleted from his personal cell phone the Grindr messages he exchanged with White in order to, quote, get rid of things, end quote. At the conclusion of the interview, Seneca was charged with second-degree attempted murder by LPD and booked in the Lafayette Parish Corrections Center. On June 27, 2020, I confirmed with LPD that no attorney representation for Seneca had been made. I then arranged an interview with Seneca by coordinating with LPD Detective Chad Parker. Once at the Lafayette Parish Corrections Center with Detective Parker, I introduced myself to Seneca and he agreed to come to LPD headquarters for an audio and video recorded interview. During the interview, in which Seneca agreed to waive his Miranda rights and make a statement, Seneca discussed his preparations for the attempted murder and dismemberment of White. Seneca confirmed that he first chatted with White on Grindr and then transitioned their electronic conversations to Snapchat. Seneca also stated that his purpose for using Grindr was to lure White to his father's home, and he considered it fair to describe Grindr as his, quote, hunting ground, end quote. Seneca further remarked that he used an internet-based retailer, Amazon, to purchase several of the items that he used in the course of the attempted murder. Seneca also provided additional details regarding this attempted murder of White. Among other things, Seneca explained that he held a firearm to White's back and told White that he could, quote, do this the easy way or the hard way, end quote, when referencing White being handcuffed. Seneca described this act as a, quote, dark joke, end quote. Based on Seneca's confession that he used false representations to lure White into his automobile, and into an isolated home for the purpose of murdering and dismembering White, as well as Seneca's use of internet-based retailers, a cell phone, and internet-based social media applications such as Grindr and Snapchat in furtherance of his plan, there exists sufficient probable cause to show that Seneca unlawfully inveigled White for the purpose of trying to dismember and murder him through the use of one or more facilities and instrumentalities of interstate commerce. What a grisly and gruesome story that was. I'm going to try to stay up on this to see what happens. I'm almost just shocked to even read it. But I will link the documents in the description box for anybody that wants to go take a look at those. Thanks for watching, guys.